There is a vast difference between a person who sits in the saddle and rides a horse and someone who has a reciprocal heart connection with their equine companion. Join me in conversation with author and creator of Chevalliance, Florentine van Thiel. For more than 20 years, this equestrian coach has been partnering with her horses, teaching riders how to become connected with their horse partners in a very deep, heartfelt way, which is truly authentic. Before we jump into the horses, how do you describe yourself? At this moment in time, who are you?
Wow, that's a big question. I'm an equine coach in progress. To make it short, I think that being with horses taught me a lot of being a better human. And yes, and in progress, I think it's the right word, because 10 years ago, if you had tell me that I will move to south of France, I say it's just impossible. You say, yes, I'm in. So to make it short, I'm an equine coach in progress. I'm also a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just finishing a book about my story that explains how I've been drawn to horses. I had another book called Reveal Your Leadership with Equine Coaching. And it is more a practical book because equine coaching is still not very known from people who are not attracted by horses. But you don't need to love horses to have a wonderful session with a horse. So that book is more about that. And the second one that I'm just finishing, it's about my story. And I think it took me 20 years to write it. I think it was in my body before going in my mind, going in my hand, and start to write it. Because at that time I was married, and my husband and I wanted to have a baby, but I was already 40, and the doctor told us it's better to try a medical assisted procreation. And okay, we start that. And to make it short, it's ended by obstetrical violence and a divorce. And at that time, I met my first horse. His name was Lancelot. And he really taught me how to become, again, a better human and to recover from all this violence I've just lived. Because the doctor asked me to go to a therapist, and I said, no, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's over. And the horse, my horse, Lancelot, helped me to heal only through the emotion, language of emotions. And that's what I needed. But I realized that I probably have something to say to the women who don't have children. You are not, my horse put me on this way. And now I know that I'm able to help women. You are not only on earth to have babies, you can do something else. You have a mission in the world, and your mission is not only having children. And I think that there is a lot of women who think, I will have no baby and my life is over, which is not true. So who I am, here I am.
that is quite the story of how you came to connect with horses. And my heart goes out to you that that was the path and the journey that you had to travel in order to have a horse come into your life to support you.
Yeah.
How did you decide that a horse was what you needed to help you heal?
It's very funny. At the end of our marriage with my husband, we went to Camargue, and we had a ride with the small white horses, the Camargue, and there was something nearly mystical. I have to say that. I was on this horse, and I said, but life is not only suffering all the time. So you can enjoy life. And it was just like something striking me and say, look around you, look where you are. I was cut of my own feelings. I was just like a dead body alive. And there I said, okay, when I go back to work, I will try to find a stable where I can ride. And that's what I did. And I started to take lessons because I was not a good rider at all. I still not am, because it's not a question of riding. It's a question of how to connect. And my first horse, Lancelot, arrived on this stable one day, and it was so beautiful. Everyone wanted to ride him, but it was a horse who made some competition. I don't know how do you say it, a racing competition. And one have to be a very good rider to ride him. And after a few months, I was able to ride him. And I was so thrilled. And I think I was in love with this horse, so to speak. And one day in winter, I will remember that for the rest of my life. I went in the stable and he was not there. And I said, where is Lancelot? And I don't know. I said, where is Lancelot? So I tried to find him, and finally I find him at the end of a corridor. He was attached with a chain. The owner of the place needed a stable for a new horse, and he took Lancelot away, and he put it at the end of the corridor. And Lancelot was there just like he didn't understand what happened to his life. And I thought this was me. I was like that. I was at the end of the corridor. I was not good for the racing. I was not good to keep my place in the stable. So I was there attached with a chain at the end of the corridor, waiting for what will be my destiny. And I went to the owner and I was very mad at him. And I said, what happened to you? It's just a horse. And this was really hard for me to hear, because he was the one who was teaching me how to ride. And he was telling me that this horse has a sense of humor and this and that. And suddenly it was just a horse, just a chair, just a table, just, I don't know. It was really hard for me to hear that. And to make it short, after 2 or 3 weeks, I bought it.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And it was not the end, because it was really difficult, because from being a horse who was ridden during the day by different riders, he was only my horse and he was not ridden enough. And he started to be a little bit mad because the owner was giving food just like he was ridden 7 hours a day. And one day I went to the forest and he embarked me full speed, and I thought it was my last day. And I don't know, there was a tree passing by and I put his head on the tree and he just stopped. And he was just like, excuse me, I don't know what happened. And well, it was a little bit difficult, but I realized that I couldn't let him in that stable. And I was hearing about a guy called Pat Perry. I had a book, and then I've heard that there was some lesson given by an instructor in Belgium, and said, there I want to go. And I went there with my horse. And the story starts with the connection there, but we went very further. It was just not that. The connection was not that with a stick, with a rope, with carrots and everything. I dropped that. I dropped all that, and I just wanted to have a heart-to-heart connection.
What does a heart-to-heart connection for you feel like with your horse, Lancelot?
It's really, it's very difficult to explain a feeling, but it's something like coming from your heart to the horse's heart. It's just like, again, there is something mystical in it. There is something very strong, just like an energy, an exchange of energy that makes you feel good, and probably the horse too. I said probably because they don't speak, but you can feel it. You can feel that growing and growing and growing, and just being in your breath and your heartbeat. It's just wonderful. It's so rare among humans.
What shifted in you as you developed your deeper connected relationship with your horse?
It's a good question. I trusted more my guts. I trusted more my feelings. I trusted the messages of my emotions, that it was right to have emotions. I coming from a very strict education, who the emotion didn't have place in the family. So I think my heart taught me the baggage I didn't have in my early ages, and that shift was enormous.
You spoke about your relationship ending and the medical challenges that you went through. How
Yeah.
did Lancelot help you process that?
As I told you about this episode where it was in a corridor, I think that we connect on the same emotional level. I mean, he was disappointed because when he arrived in the stable, he was joyful. He was full of life. He was, I'm in a happy place. There is no race. There's a lot of people loving me. And I'm ending it at the corridor because it was, he went into a routine of being ridden 7 a day by not so good riders, and probably had some back difficulties with his back. And I think that I came in like this also. And in my wedding also, I have my husband, I love him. We have this project to have a baby together, and it's just so fun. And I fell into the disappointment. And we connect on that disappointment. And from there, by buying him, we start to know each other better. And I'm a little bit stubborn. I wanted to know why he was not happy, because it was my horse. what was wrong with what I was doing it. I thought that he would have been happy again with me and only me.
Mhm.
My ego was like this, and it was not that. So when we changed of stable and we started the parallel lessons, there was this little frame in his head that opened, and he's in his heart, because it came from both places, and for me also. And I think he helped me heal, because after that terrible violences, I was keeping asking me, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And I was repeating that with Lancelot, what's wrong with me? And at some point he said, that's okay. Everything's all right. I know who you are. We are now at a best place. You met my need. I need to have friends. I need to see the sunshine from my stables. I need to go in a pasture. And now I can see who you are. And I was not feeling guilty or ashamed anymore. He helped me in that. And that was extremely precious. Thank you for those questions, because I didn't really see it that way, but it helped me to think it differently.
Your relationship with Lancelot developed into supporting each other. You provided his needs, sunshine, pasture, friends. What would you say he brought to your relationship? How did he support you?
By being present. It was the first time in my life, I think, that I had a being who was present to me, present in, the horses, how they can be so there. It was the first time that I had that in my life. Or maybe when I was a baby, my father and my mother were like that, but I don't remember that. It's too far, but just having someone being there for you, whatever you think, whatever your emotions are, whatever your intentions are, I'm there for you.
Did you find his presence validating, in the sense that you could show up however you were at that moment, without judgment, without question, without criticism, that you were accepted?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because I have to tell you that in my wedding, I had to be kind, a kind, nice woman. So I was trying to adapt, and if I was not in adapting to the situation or what he was asking me to be, and I think that on top of that, not having the baby at the end was the reason why we divorced. Being accepted in all I am. Yeah.
That's wonderful, to step into your authenticity and have it received openly.
Yeah.
What was the progress or progression, if you will, from your time with Lancelot, you healing, him healing, to being able to offer your healing opportunities to other people? How did that come about?
When I got Lancelot, I've been offered by my boyfriend at that time workshop in animal communication and kinesiology for animals. And when I arrived there at the end of the first day, I said, oh, those people are completely crazy. Animals don't talk. What's that? And okay, I went the second day, and on the second day, I was totally convinced of the message I received, and I met very nice people. I was more open on the second day, and it was the first day was 4-day workshop, and I wanted to make the long training because I wanted to work with animals. I wanted to work with dogs, cats, horses. I wanted to help riders. I thought it was my call. And I started to work. And after 3 meetings where all the animals die, I had a conversation with Lancelot. And he told me, it's not you. It's not the animal. You have to work with humans. And I said, no, because animals is more easier. And he said, no, but the origin is always the humans. So I tried to avoid that. I went to the Arras de la Science to have a certificate as the horsemanship instructor. And there, I took Lancelot there, and there I met this girl who told me about the tale of Equus of Linda Kohanov. And then I said, yeah, I think it's that. I think Lancelot was right. That's what I have to do. So I went to the introductory workshop in Finland. And after the 4 days, I said, yes, that's what I want to do. But still, I don't have the money because it was extremely expensive and I didn't have the money. So I hired an American instructor to come on Europe. And I followed the first, I think it was three days workshop she offered. And then she come a second time. We all have certificates, but we were all like, okay, we have lived wonderful experiences, but how can we reproduce that? Mm-hmm. We have no tools, nothing. So I went to Paris to study normal individual one-to-one, one-on-one coaching. And then I mixed up all the tools I had from the instructors with my training of coaching. And then I started to teach because I thought it's so wonderful. I want people to know and to learn how to help other people with the right tools. And I have a school, and I'm training French people from Belgium, from France, Switzerland, and Quebec. There is a part online, the theoretical part is online, and then there is 1 week in immersion, and then there is 18 months of supervision there before the certification. And I do that for 20 years now. And lately, because I saw too many people with sticks, rope, carrots, and everything, I add to my training another online training, which is called Cheval en Lien, which means horse links, where we drop everything and we enter in the nonverbal communication of the horse, the simple ears like this, or the nose like this, or the twink of an eye. There's a signification for everything. And it's better to know what it means and to answer to that than falling in an interpretation which is probably wrong. So it's a 3-month training, and I love it because I see how horses, when they start to understand that the human is trying to talk their language, they are even better healer. It's really, I love that. I really love that. And it's funny enough because I have riders, obviously, who follow that training, but I have a lot of equine coach who wants to learn to work differently. And they come and say, I thought I knew a lot, but I was far from really understanding my horse. Here it is.
That's beautiful. The ability to allow the connection to develop, and you're fostering that connection. So I was going to ask, when you have a rider who comes out, and the traditional method that I've observed is they walk the horse out, they get on the horse, they ride, they put the horse through their paces, and then they put the horse away. But at no time is there a connection between that horse and rider.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
how do you develop or how do you encourage a development of connection between a mounted rider and their horse?
When they want to fill in to subscribe for the training, I tell them that they will not ride for 3 months. If they are not ready for that, I don't need their money. It's just they will throw money by the window.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary. If they really want to know how to connect, they have to stay on the ground and look at their horse and start to learn. Mounting is just the, how do you say that? The cherry on the sundae,
Mm-hmm.
but you cannot grab it. You usually mounting a horse, we don't, and I see that in the training, they don't want to be ridden. They just accept it because they learn they cannot say no. But when they can say no, and when they offer you to be ridden, it's just a gift. Smile with you. It's so wonderful to see that.
Oh, it's bringing tears to my eyes that you encourage and accept the no from the horse.
Yeah.
Rather than you must because I said so. To me, that's not a relationship. That's a dictatorship. What do you share with, and just really, overview, how do you know when your horse is saying no?
It's really easy. It's some sign that humans ignore, but when you arrive to your horse with the saddle and the horse does that, it's already no. But usually they are attached, so they know they can say no. So they just do, oh, please, no. Okay, I will have the saddle. But if there is no, if he's loose and you are coming with the saddle, you will probably run after him for 1 hour with the saddle. Okay, so change your mind, change your plan. And maybe he will say yes in 10 minutes or in an hour or in 2 days, but accept that no.
That I have found to be the hardest thing for people to walk into, the acceptance of my desire at this moment in time is not shared. So how do I shift that so we have mutual connection and mutual sharing of a little bit for me and a little bit for the horse, and we come together in a place of contentment rather than the doing of only my ask.
When the horse starts to understand that he can't say no, he usually be more open to say yes. But I think that we are, you say that, greedy?
Mm-hmm.
When
Yes.
we have a good answer, we are so just impatient to have more. And that is something that we have to tame, to learn to tame our impatience. We want, as predators, we want to run after our pleasure. We want to have things quickly. But we need to learn to let things. And it's even more beautiful when you have this, yes, we can ride. Yes, we can go out and see the landscape and the sunset together. It's you arrive to a quality of relationship that is exceptional, very rare. And you are not attracted to ride anymore when you reach that point. Because riding, it's okay, it's fine, but it comes at the second place. And I'm so happy when the previous rider understand that. I think I've done a good job when it's like that.
I would absolutely agree. I would absolutely. One of my favorite things to do with my horses is to, we get mounted up, we go out into the field and we graze. Or I'll just climb on their back and just be in their space. We'll go into a beautiful field and we graze together.
Yeah.
And we share the moment of feeling the breath and feeling their ribs expand, and my heart and their heart connects. But there is no goal. There is no, we are going to do this. It's, what can we do together that we're both going to enjoy?
Yeah, exactly. That's wonderful.
Now, your training, is it specifically for and focused towards horse owners, or do you partner with your horses and bring in, I call them, civilians, people who don't have horses? Is that where some of your training lies as well?
It's better if you own a horse, because it's difficult to build a relationship with a horse that you don't know. You can read what you can have by doing this training without having a horse is it's to read them better, but to know them better, it's better to have your own horse. I mean, it's just like having a friend or having a lover. You know your friend, but when your friends are away, they can be totally different. You don't know. Mm-hmm. But your lover, you live with him. You know everything of him. You know what he likes, what he doesn't like, what you both like together. And that makes a difference. And for me, as an equine coach, I know that the trust is more profound between us, because they know that I will never put them in a bad situation. Even if some situation might look weird, they trust me. And I say that because when I'm not working a lot in corporation world, but when you are working with groups from the corporate world, they are very strange sometimes. And I know that some equine coaches are working with horses coming from a stable that have never done that work before, and they are just scary of what they are in a flight mode all the time. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. But it's my vision of the equine world.
What advice would you offer for someone who is partnered with a horse that cannot keep their horse at their own space, therefore managing the circumstances and the engagement, but wants to be able to facilitate having that connection, that offer of, deeper understanding, that heart, that ability to say no when they have to be in a more public barn or public stable? What advice would you give that horse owner that they can incorporate into their horse's world to make that more aligned with the way that you're sharing your vision of the horse world?
The advice I could give is to understand that leadership is not a question of dominance. Leadership is a question of being influent. Some people are talking about passive leadership. We are never passive. So leading by example is what the influencers on Instagram, that's what they do. They do something that they like, and they have followers because they want, oh, looks interesting. So the first position in leadership is to be an influent leader. So do things that might interest your horse and that your horse would like you to follow. The second is to be supportive, is when the horse said, oh, okay, I follow, and there's no answer. Yes, please encourage the horse to follow you. And the third is where everyone would like to be, it's assertive leadership. It means you ask something to the horse and the horse says yes, but it's something that you must earn. And how do you earn that? By spending hours and hours and hours in influent leadership. And that's my advice. I have 3 other horses. I have Chekhov, Ashnan, and Bingo. Bingo is the last one I accepted my herd, and he didn't met Lancelot, but the 2 other, Chekhov and Ashnan, met Lancelot. It's very funny because Chekhov is not a stallion anymore. He's a gelding, and Ashnan is a mare. Their trust is totally different. The way they trust me is totally different. It's really a male and a female. It's really having a friend who's a boy and a friend who's a girl. The way the mare is trusting me or interacting with me is more like a girlfriend. But they are on the same level because I put hours and hours and hours and hours of my training in them. And I can walk by the countryside at liberty with them. I just because here I'm only here for 4 months now, and there are wild animals around in the forest, and even a wolf. And I put a halter and a rope on their back, but I don't use it.
Mm.
It's just for safety, their safety. Because it might happen. We met I don't know, the wild animal. We were on the high, and she came because it was a female with babies, and I was, oh my God, I think that they can kill us because they are very dangerous when they have baby.
Mhm.
And the mother took to fly away instead of attacking. But he was like this, and I said, in a split of a second, he can fly away, and I don't know. And I just put my hand on his chest, and it just didn't move. It was just like a rock, like this. And another time we had, and I didn't see, he saw it because he reared like this and turned his back. And it was just a fox, a gray fox, but a big one. And okay, I didn't touch the rope, but I was happy that it was there just in case. So we have reached this connection. And I think that probably I told you that I was an equine coach in progress. Probably I have to work on my trust on them to leave the rope and the halter. It's just me because I'm in a new environment, and so they are, and I don't know how they will react, even if I have an idea. But maybe it's in my reaction. I don't know. I'm an equine coach in progress. I want to be honest with that.
I've found that it's also the perception that others have. So when the halter and the line are on the horse, it makes other people more comfortable.
Yeah.
Rather than I need that to control my horse. It's I need that to put other people at ease because they don't understand the relationship that I have with my horses.
I remember one day that there was this woman in a car who just stopped. She went out of her car and she ran and she took the rope and said, "I have it." And I said, "It's okay." He was not running. We are just walking.
Okay, that just speaks to just, what we shared. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have these three magnificent partners. How do you incorporate your work with others, other humans, with your herd?
I designed some program on a specific theme, which can be trust, leadership, authenticity, self-worthy. It depends. And lately, because the countryside is so beautiful, oh my God. It is something that I was thinking about when I was in Belgium, to go to the Camino, Saint-Jacques-de-Compostelle, you see, to offer 2 or 3 days on the Camino and coaching people during these 3 days of walking with horses at liberty. And so
sign me
working.
up. I am so there. I've got my backpack ready. We're going.
Okay, okay, please, you're welcome. You're welcome. And we are working on, during those 3 days, we will work on our own relationship and how relationship with ourselves, and then the relationship with the other, and the other is the horse. And it will be after that the relationship with the group. How do we create this connection between the group in 3 days by walking through the Camino?
What a fantastic idea. Taking things and putting them into movement and motion
Yeah,
and allowing what comes forward to be walked out.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I had that in Belgium, but I didn't know how to realize that it's here. I just go out and I can start to work.
So where can we find you in the world right now?
I'm in southern France. I'm close to Saint-Maximin-la-Sainte-Baume.
How did you find yourself coming to this part of the world?
One of my students who came to my training in Belgium, because I'm already originated from Belgium, was living close to Saint-Maximin-la-Sainte-Baume. And she asked me to come to visit her, and I went there years ago. And lately in Belgium, I don't know if you know that, but it was raining for 5, 6, 7 months. And my horses started to feel sick. And it was impossible for me to work in that condition. So I had her on the phone and she asked me, oh, do you want to come to my place and just see if you like it and then stay if you like it. And if you don't, you will go back to Belgium. And I said, oh, yes, that's a good idea. But I didn't realize how much energy it asked me to take my 3 horses to go there. But I don't regret it, even if it was very hard. I don't regret a single second of that trip.
The book that you've created and you've released, how did that come to fruition for you?
The first book was more to let people know what equine coaching is exactly. And it was a sort of testimony and summary of 10 years of practice. Because when I'm going to a networking place, I don't make any effort, because when people are asking, what are you doing now? I'm an equine coach. Oh, okay, you're right. No, so I can see how there is still a lot of conferences to give, book to write, podcasts like this to spread into the world, to help people understand that it's not only horses, but nature. We are so disconnected of the real world. And it's funny because at the beginning of the year, in February, I was in Bordeaux to have my book signed. And I was just in it's ferry with horses, and there was jumping competition. And I thought it's the place where horses are. So equine coaching must be known, and it is not. People didn't know what I was doing because a horse is meant to be ridden. No, not only that.
You answer people that say, well, a horse is meant to be ridden, a horse is meant to be jumped, I can do whatever I want with a horse. How do you answer that? What is your response?
I don't try to convince them that there is another option, because it's just like when the first person told that the world is round, and they were, and still now there are some people who think it's flat. When you're so convinced that that is that, and there is no openness to something new, I have nothing to say. And usually the doors start to open when they have accident.
Interesting. Why is that?
because I think they realize that when the accident happened for a reason, and they are trying to find what was the reason. What did they do? Or what was, and sometimes they don't put them in question, but after 3 accidents with 3 different horses, they start to say, wow, no, there is something. So, and in life, I think it's like that. When you have an accident, you just have to say, oh, let me think about it. What happened? And it's funny because when you talk with horsey people, what their first moment is always to talk about the accident they have, or the accident they might have, or the accident they didn't have, but that could happen. So there may be an option to say, yeah, but the horse had to say something to you. But if they are so sure that the horse is just there to be ridden, okay. I have another opinion, but maybe we can share different things. I'm sure that we have, it depends on if you have time, if I am invited at a party and I know that I have 3 or 4 hours in front of me, I will try to find what we have in common so we can share something. And maybe I can speak about what I'm doing exactly. And maybe they will try. But if it's just at a networking party and you are with a drink and you have 5 minutes speed dating with someone, horses ridden, no, next.
Waiting for the opportunity for the what if, perhaps consider, could you look at it from this perspective, rather than looking at it from the way they're looking at it. But again, you need time for that conversation to happen. But you've been making time for those conversations. You've been finding a way to have those conversations.
Yeah.
You mentioned your second book is coming out. What is the premise of that book?
The book is my autobiography. Because after the first book, a lot of people asked me, but how did you start this profession? Were you already in horses before, your father maybe, or your grandfather? And I don't know, not at all. So I decided to tell my own story and how Lancelot helped me to recover from a divorce and obstetrical violence after medical assisted procreation. And it's that, so it's autobiography, but also it is for women who have lived the same, because it's funny, since I'm speaking about my book, and since I'm talking about my book, a lot of women are saying, oh, I had the same. But they don't speak about it. Just like, what you must tell the story, and don't be ashamed of that. Because if you didn't have children, you were not meant to, but you probably have something other to offer to the world. And we can find that together. And horses can help you to do that too. So that's the book.
And when can we expect to have it on the shelves and have it accessible?
I have to find 4 or 5 people to read it and to come back to me with their comments, and then it will be released. But it takes time. Every good thing takes time.
Absolutely. A good relationship takes time. A good relationship with yourself takes time.
Yeah,
You know, a good relationship with a book takes time.
exactly, exactly.
If you could share with us one thing that you would like people to think about, consider, try to embody, whether they have a horse or they don't, what would that be?
Just what we say now, take your time. Just a slow life. There is no emergency to live. Just to learn to breathe, to learn to be connected to all the beauty around you. Even if you are in a small flat, there are some beauty in there. So just that slow life, breathe slowly and look at the beauty around you.
So before we wrap up our time today, I have two quick questions. What is a book that you have read that has had an impact on you, other than the two that you've written?
No, the Tarot of Equus from Linda Kohanov.
Mhm.
I read it 5 times, I think. And I read too much book.
You can never read too many books, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a French book from a Dr. Yves Christen,
Mhm.
who wrote a book called Is the animal a person? L'animal est-il une personne? Is the animal a person? And also Animal Makes Us Human, and I think it was Temple Grandin who wrote that. That's the books I could recommend.
And do you have, at this moment in time, a favorite quote?
I have a lot, but there is one that will always say, be the change you want to see in the world. So that's why I'm an equine woman in progress.
That's beautiful. If someone wants to explore the opportunity to become a equine, therapist in progress, what would be your recommendation?
To listen to your heart and go find out what is the best training for you. And also, even if you have your certification or your diploma or whatever, don't stop going in supervision. Don't stop working on yourself. That's the key. Listen to your intuition. Be connected, because for me, the horses are spiritual being, and they help you to connect it to a higher, whatever it is, if you are religious or not. There is a higher intelligence that is there for us.
What a beautiful sharing. Thank you so much for taking the time to step away from your herd, step away from everything that you were doing, and spend some time in connection with me from heart to heart. I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was really nice conversations, and it thought-provoking. Yeah, I really liked your questions.
If you would like to connect further, you can do so through the website chevalliance.eu. There you will find a list of all upcoming events, sessions, and seminars. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next In Conversation With.